Hey, it's Sela Social Studies.
Welcome back to Sela Social Studies. Okay, here's that really, really big thing that happens during Thomas Jefferson's presidency, the Louisiana Purchase. Here's a picture of the Louisiana Purchase, okay? Remember that these were the original 13 colonies, and then after the French and Indian War, the 7 Years' War, France is kicked out, and then there's this Mississippi River here, so then Britain actually controlled the land from the 13 colonies to the Mississippi River. And if you remember correctly, Spain took over the rest of the territory, the whole central part, western part, northwestern part of the United States. So you had Spain and Britain as the two primary European powerhouses in America at the time. So how is it that we purchased the Louisiana territory from who we purchase it from? So this title here is From Spain to France, and here's how that happens. In a secret treaty in the year 1800 between France and Spain called the Treaty of San Ildefonso, Spain actually returns the territory of Louisiana, which France has ceded to them after the French and Indian War, the 7 Years' War in 1763. This is why when Thomas Jefferson purchases the Louisiana territory, he purchases it from France and not from Spain. Napoleon wanted to build an empire in the United States. This is why he acquires the Louisiana territory. So Napoleon thinks that he is now going to take all that land and turn it into a major French power overseas. However, because of the Haitian rebellion going on in the island of Haiti, that was taking up a good portion of Napoleon's money, his funds for his army. He was fighting wars in Europe, and the Haitian rebellion made it so that this was just not going to be feasible anymore. So Napoleon is like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this land. But why did we want it? Why did Jefferson go out and purchase the Louisiana territory? Well, if you remember correctly, we've talked about manifest destiny, Americans wanting to move west. Okay, so now we're talking about Americans. Remember, like when we were the 13 colonies and we wanted to move west to the Mississippi River, we fought that war before the Ohio Territory. That was something that European Americans wanted to do. They wanted to move west, manifest destiny. They wanted to take all the land from sea to shining sea, make it their own, and colonize it. So Americans had settled between the Appalachians and the Mississippi River by 1800. You have Kentucky, Tennessee, and Ohio being admitted as states, and settlers depended on the mighty Mississippi and Ohio rivers to move products. Remember, they're agriculture products, right? You have lots of tobacco being farmed and vegetables being farmed and things that needed to be moved up and down the Mississippi River. And Jefferson knew that if a foreign entity were to control the port of New Orleans in Louisiana, that they would control any imports and exports going out of the Mississippi River. So Thomas Jefferson wanted to control all of that trade going in and out of the Mississippi. So he knew that in order for this to happen, he would have to purchase or own or somehow conquer the port of New Orleans to be able to control the trade up and down the Mississippi River. So what does he do? He sends Robert Livingston and James Monroe to France to negotiate a deal with the French minister on behalf of Napoleon. The original offer was for $10 million to purchase the port of New Orleans, just New Orleans in that area down there. We're going to give you $10 million. Well, France, because like I said, they were in wars in Europe and dealing with the Haitian rebellion, they actually offered to sell the whole Louisiana territory for $15 million or 4 cents an acre. This was kind of like, no, Livingston and Monroe kind of had to sit and talk about it because Jefferson said, don't spend more than $10 million. But they're like, listen, dude, listen, Jefferson, bro. Now, we said we were going to buy this itty-bitty little bit of land for $10 million. But Napoleon's like, I'll sell you all of it for $5 million more. Dude, we have to do it. So it does. They do it. They purchase the Louisiana Territory October 20th, 1803. It is voted upon in the Senate, and it actually just barely passes. It barely passes the House, the legislature, 59 to 57. That's a very, very small margin of victory for us to say, hey, let's get this land purchased. So what does the Louisiana Territory do? Well, it was a massive area of land. You can see up there on the map. It actually consisted of about 828,000 square miles. It extended from the Mississippi River westward to the Rocky Mountains and down to the Gulf of Mexico and up to the Canadian border. So this is a huge tract of land that America buys, that Thomas Jefferson buys. So now what's the importance of it? Well, it opens up new opportunities for westward expansion, farming, large forest areas, really help the lumber industry and the economy, and it nearly doubles the size of the United States. Okay, so it was a really big purchase, but Thomas Jefferson was like, I don't know if I can do it. If you remember what we've covered in the past, Thomas Jefferson was an anti-federalist. He had a strict construction of the Constitution. Right there on your right-hand side. Jefferson's view, if the Constitution did not say the government can do it, then they can't do it. It's a strict constructionalism of the Constitution. If you have to imply it, the Constitution denies it. If it is not spelled out in the Constitution, you can't do it. So, did the Constitution say that the president can purchase territories from other countries? No. So Thomas Jefferson is going against his beliefs. He's going against his ideals. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? The Constitution doesn't say I can do it, but I'm going to do it. So Jefferson actually does it. He goes against what he believes and what he fought for so long to purchase the Louisiana Territory. And after he purchases this, he lives with that decision for the rest of his life. Oh my gosh, I had to go against everything that I believed and fought for so long and purchase this territory, all because he was a strict constitutionalist. What type of expeditions? You have the famed Lewis and Clark expedition. About 50 frontiersmen began in St. Louis in 1804. They reached the Pacific Ocean in November of 1805, which a lot of North Carolina population actually moves west into this area. Zebulon Pike explores the Southwest into Colorado, the famous Pikes Peak mountain there that Zebulon Pike went and surveyed. And here is a connection to North Carolina. Richard Worthington, he led missions in Missouri River, brought back samples to Thomas Jefferson like prairie dogs. They were sent out there to bring back all types of wildlife and drawings and map out the area. So it was a pretty successful expedition. However, they were also tried to find waterway connecting the east and the west, one waterway so you could just get in a boat and go. And unfortunately, they were not able to find that. But this new territory here of the Louisiana Purchase doubles the size of America, even though Jefferson's like, I don't know if I could do it or not. Okay, so now that we've covered the Louisiana Purchase during Jefferson's time in presidency, we're going to get into some things that happened in North Carolina.